Hey everybody, we are back with San Diego Comic-Con tip videos. We do all sorts of videos every year for Comic-Con. Obviously it's been a few years without it, so after 3 years without the con, we're back at the convention center, we're back doing these videos. And one we considered doing back in 2019 and we never got around to was places to eat. Just some recommendations about things, not saying that these are the must-eat places, but just some tips. We see a lot of people asking every year, where are good places to get food fast? Not that that's an easy thing at Comic-Con at all, but we may have a few tips in that vein. And I know this year I've seen more questions than ever on social media about eating down here because a lot of things have closed. On top of that, we also know that the labor shortage is going to impact Comic-Con this summer, or the Gaslamp at least. So everything we're going to talk about is, it revolves around some tips of things that have worked in the past, but also some ideas about maybe trying to be dynamic and hopefully finding good fits for you during the con. So we'll kind of mix a few things up there. That said, we know we're not going to have any definitive plan here, so please feel free to leave in the comments and share ideas that you have, especially for our San Diego locals that are down here a lot in the Gaslamp. They may have some ideas, or they definitely have some ideas that we don't, that are driving 2 hours down here to record a video like that. So with that said, let's think about, it's Thursday night, we're tired, we're hungry, we've been at the con all day, or it's Saturday afternoon, been on the hard floor for 5 hours, need a quick break. We're not going to talk about breaks inside the convention center and food there, because that'll be a different video, but we are going to talk about that time that we get out of the convention center and head down these streets and maybe look for some other options around the San Diego Comic-Con campus. So with that said, let's start moving. All right, anybody that's been to Comic-Con before recognizes the Tin Fish behind us. It's one of the kind of iconic stops for a lot of people on their San Diego trips out here. That said, I know there's been a lot of questions about it being under new ownership and it's changing. Our understanding is that's not going to take place, the change in menu and those types of items, until after the Comic-Con season. So people coming out to Comic-Con 2022 should be able to enjoy a last meal pretty similar, I would imagine, to what we've had in the past. Will NBC be here incorporating into an activation? Probably so. Most likely there'd be contracts in place. That said, not positive about this, and if you're watching this right up against the convention, maybe there's already been announcements about that. But just to answer the question, it does seem that Tin Fish will return for at least one more time before it changes to something new for 2023. For us, usually Tin Fish is pretty busy during the con. There seems to be soft hours in the earlier parts of the day and the latter parts of the day when it's open that we'll target, but for us, usually that's kind of a Tuesday before the con type of meal, or maybe even the Monday after the con if we're still in town. So plan accordingly when it comes to Tin Fish. One strategy we've incorporated the last few years is, as places like the Hilton Bayfront and then the Omni have incorporated like pop-up snack bars or snack carts outside. They've been really helpful and we've had some pretty good food and decent prices. For example, the Omni behind us, we were able to pop in there at like 10:30, 11 in the morning for like a breakfast burrito spot. We sat right out here. We saw some of the cast of the Lego movie making their way across, and it was like this really cool kind of Comic-Con experience as we're just sitting there where there was no wait, no line, decent prices, a nice break. It just kind of checked a lot of boxes. So make sure to keep an eye out for those, because those could be useful. Also at the Omni, they've added in a new, the social bar, they call it, towards the front. It's kind of taking up a little bit more room there. They've built in the one bathroom that was in the Omni there is kind of incorporated into that as well. So some changes that we'll see. We're going to talk about Vela as well, and some of the new, or the absence of Vela, and kind of the restaurant that's taking its place at the Bayfront. But there are some of those spots where like new things have popped into old spots, and there's parts where it's just they're vacant. Now, in terms of things that are like vacant, we're going to have separate videos where we do kind of campus tours, probably YouTube Live and things like that. So we're not going to go through today with a big checklist of like, well, this isn't here, this isn't here, this isn't here, but follow along for those types of things as well. All right, the subway on 6th and K is not a favorite spot for us, but we do know a lot of attendees utilize it during the con, and we know, again, a lot of people are curious about what's persevered and what's still here. And so although you could Google these things, we know a lot of people come to us for these types of questions. So we want to say it is here, it's still here, it should be here during Comic-Con. We found that usually it's a bit busy, it sometimes has the prices hiked up. So again, it's never been a real consistent stop for us, but it's here if it's your place. Another spot we wanted to feature that we know is a favorite for a lot of people in a Comic-Con tradition is Broken Yolk, and it also persevered. It is still here. We also want to note, though, that a lot of places during the pandemic added additional, like, semi-permanent seating outside. So you can see here for Broken Yolk, they've got a number of benches and umbrellas and things like that. Much of 5th Street during the, first reopening phases of the closures, they had a huge closure here in California. San Diego made whatever deals to be able to allow them to kind of extend out and add seating. So you'll find a lot of maybe your favorite eating spots have added a little bit of additional seating that way. We would imagine most will have it, as you can see here, that it won't disappear between now and Comic-Con, but just kind of an FYI if you make your way down and see like what's all this new seating in various spots. All right, Lolita's is one spot we always recommend. We have a great time there. Full disclosure, we just ate there. It was $22 for two of us to eat there. Had a drink, great salsa bar, always clean, always great service, all awesome. The only challenge there is they do close Sundays, and I don't know if that'll be different for Comic-Con, but do make sure to check that if you're planning to make it a Sunday stop. We make the walk. It's a little bit further than a lot of things. I know a lot of people want to stay right there on 5th Street, so it's going past Petco, so it is a little bit of a walk. But usually they process people pretty fast, able to get in there, and it's just such great food and such great prices that we always got to eat there at least once, usually twice during a Comic-Con trip. All right, First and G may be a bit of a walk, but they both can be really useful when you're looking for something quick to grab early in the day, later in the day. So first off, we've got the signature Ralph's over here, which is kind of a famous spot for Comic-Con attendees, picking up sodas, chips, things like that, but also being a signature Ralph's, they've got a lot more fresh food options in there. They've got poke bowls, they've got sushi, they've got boar's head sandwiches, they've got chicken, pizza, all sorts of things. Then across the way over here, we've got Earl of Sandwich right across the street, which is a very tasty spot. We used to go there at least once a month when I was at downtown Disney at Disneyland. No longer there, unfortunately. But two good spots, again, a little bit further out of the way, but they can be spots where you can grab meals to have if everything else seems just too difficult. So Spaghetti Factory is a common spot for a lot of people. They are able to process a lot of folks every weekend, and during Comic-Con particularly, they go through the people there. That said, one thing to note, they do currently use a text system, so you can put your number in and be able to leave, which should be particularly nice during Comic-Con if they're still using that system, because you've got all the cosplay out here and different kind of activity going on, and you don't have to stay tethered to the building. We've also found over the years that a lot of times their wait time, they quote, is longer than it actually takes to get in. There's been several times that they've given us a wait time of something like 45 minutes, and we've put our name in there, and then we run to see if we can find something better, then they're text us like 20 minutes later. So it might be worth to know that and kind of check that out. Also in this area, as you can see, they've got the extra seating on the outside. Over here, we've got extra seating. Now there is a party that they're getting set up here over here, but down here you can see like this is semi-permanent extra seating out onto 5th here, that again has been added as part of kind of the COVID pandemic protocols that they had in place here to be able to extend some of their dining. So some of the restaurants have contracted it and brought it back inside, and some, you know, maybe won't. Now over here, Toscana, gone. That's been obviously a common kind of fun little area for Comic-Con, and a lot of these places that have disappeared. So again, we'll do some videos as we get closer that are maybe like lives where we do kind of campus crawls and just take sections and go from spot to spot and show you what's open and what's not, because things could even change between the shooting of this video and actual Comic-Con weekend. All right, so the Hilton Bayfront no longer has Bella, but it has been replaced by Hudson and Nash. So we'll take you in there just to give a kind of quick look at the external side of it. But Bella was always a spot for us that we kind of were able to get a pretty easy table there. We enjoyed, we sat a couple tables down from like M. Night Shyamalan there. It was always a fun place to go in there and see who you could see, like celebrity sightings and things like that. And so we're excited to see what Hudson and Nash is like. Also, they've added a new grab and go right next door that has some pre-prepared like sandwiches and things like that. That's in addition to the gift shop all on the lower level here. And then they still have their traditional stuff upstairs. So it's been neat watching that kind of come together, because we were out here like as soon as the reopening happened, and that was all barred off, and you may have seen some of our like construction update videos or things like that, but it's now seems to be fully open, and we'll be here for San Diego Comic-Con 2022, and we can't be more excited to try it out. So the Hilton Gaslamp's behind us, and didn't really want to include it as much as a necessary stop for food, but more of just kind of a overall thought about dining as it comes to Comic-Con. For us, the most important thing really is being able to get in and get off our feet as fast as possible. That's really our overarching goal with anything related to eating at Comic-Con. It's almost more about the break for the feet than it is even the eating a lot of times. But back here at Hilton Gaslamp, this is one where there was a few years ago where we went to multiple spots that we've talked about in this video or other videos that were like, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, because they're all 45 minutes, hour and a half. And we bend around the corner and we come over here and there was no signage and it was just kind of off to the side, and they immediately were able to sit us. They didn't have anything out really advertising that they were doing any sort of Comic-Con dining back in the corner there, but they did, and it was good food, it was good service, it was quick and easy. And so main thing to kind of remember is, like everything at Comic-Con, it's all a battle, it's all competitive, everything's a challenge, and sometimes you have to kind of go to that second, third, or fourth option, even if you want to find something quick. For us, it's never going to be an option to wait like an hour and a half in some sort of wait at some place. So if it is for you, that's totally fine, but we're just saying for us, a big thing is like, if it's going to be more than a half-hour wait, and sometimes a half hour is even too much for us, we're going to move on to the next spot, and try to hit as many spots. Sometimes we'll put our name in at multiple places, and then go back and let them know, okay, take us off the list, just so we can, like, okay, let's put a name in here and then go try this spot. Okay, we've got a better one, take our name off that list and try and hold a spot somewhere else that's going to be better and faster. So again, think about all of the options, and is there anywhere that's kind of around you, wherever you're at, whether you're over at Seaport Village area, you're down on Island, whatever it might be, are there other options nearby that maybe people aren't thinking quite as much about as the place that you're at that's maybe got a 45-minute wait? So there are a lot of changes to the San Diego Comic-Con campus this year. We expect a really great con, but there are differences. I mean, all the construction behind us here, we'll talk separately about that. Seaport Village, some of the food options over there, some of those things as well. But this one, we wanted to just really kind of jump into some of the things immediately that we see the most questions, most common things out there, and some just basic tips. With that said, we suggest now you head over to some of our past videos. You can check the links in our description there to see some of what Comic-Con is, to get a feel for it. I know a big thing we talk about is just getting adjusted to the huge crowds that we can expect, and those are things that you can find, as well as some of the booths, food options, things like that in our playlist. And we're going to be adding more videos, YouTube Live, etc. into that as well, so you can just click away there. So with that said, we'll wrap up here, and until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.